Hello everyone and welcome to F1 2016 career mode. We're here for the Japanese Grand Prix, round number 17 of the Formula 1 season. We're here at Suzuka for season 2, part number 38 of the entire career mode. And it's been a while, it's been a couple of weeks since we were in Malaysia for the Malaysian Grand Prix in Sepang. And I tell you what, if you missed that race, we had an emphatic finale to that race. And if you've missed any of the previous episodes in the career mode, the playlist will be in one of the cards in the top right hand corner. Do check it out. There's been some absolute crackers over the last season and a half. And we're here in Suzuka now, a track where last year we crashed out. It was a wet race. We went from slicks to inters, and we got badly caught out by the conditions. A puncture as well. It was a race where everything went wrong. And it's a race where we actually really struggle at as well. It's a really bad track for us. It's probably my worst track on the game. So it's very much damage limitation around here. And the AI are very quick as well to add insult to injury in that one. Here are the resource points we got from practice. We have ceased R&D. I think we do that a little bit later on, but we will cease the R&D. Mainly because we might as well. We're not doing it anyway. So here's our qualifying goals.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
And there are our goals, the same as they always are. Second or higher and beat Daniel Ricciardo. So, as I said, very tough qualifying session up ahead. It's a good track for the AI, a bad track for us. And let's see what we can do. We had a tricky practice session, so I'm now going to send you over to Crofty for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session, where we should be underway shortly.
Here we are in qualifying 1. We do get through the session easily, but we did have a massive moment on the exit of Dunlop as we were completing our second flying lap. It actually took us 2 laps to get out of Q1 because our first one was so bad, as you could see there. Here we are in qualifying 2, then we're just starting our one and only run. So we can't afford to mess this one up like we did in qualifying 1 because, well, I would say these would be our race tyres, but they won't be because we're expecting rain for the start of the race. So that's why we are running the soft compound tyre. And the fact that we're pure and simple, we don't have the pace to get out of the session purely on the medium compound. So we've struggled very much in qualifying this year, so we'll just have to see what we can do as we just come through the Casio triangle now to end out the lap. Where's this going to put us? We scraped through Q1 in about 8th place. This one puts us in P4. Very good lap time for us, but the star of the session, I think, was that Sebastian Vettel, who got through on the medium compound tyre, half a second off Ricciardo. Ferrari looking very, very competitive here this weekend. And as we start our final run in qualifying 3, our Q1 tyres have put us stone dead last in the session in 10th place. Sebastian Vettel, on the other hand, has provisional pole position at the moment, and we're just going to be finding time hand over fist on our lap, just because of brand new tyres versus 3-lap old tyres. As we now cut to the end of the lap, we're just coming towards 130R. We have caught, I think it's a Williams that's just in front of us as well. So we've just got to be careful that Massa doesn't compromise us too much going through the Casio triangle. We're almost a second up on our delta compared to our first lap. As we open the DRS, come across the line, it puts us into P4, 3/10 off pole. But the massive shock is, it is a Ferrari 1-2 here in Suzuka. Sebastian Vettel takes pole by basically a 10th, 9/100ths of a second. Ricciardo, we miss out on 3rd place by 2/100ths of a second to Ricciardo. Very close qualifying session between the 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Ferraris. Mercedes, though, 9th and 10th. They really have had a bit of a fall from grace, it must be said. As here are our resource points from that session. And that is gutting. I can't believe we missed out on Ricciardo by just so much. So little, and it has cost us. Although, in fact, Ricciardo did go quicker in Q2, sorry. So a couple of those guys did lose a little bit of pace. I noticed that my lap in Q3 wasn't as nice as the one in Q2. So I don't know if the track temperature changed at all. But yeah, the track might have lost a little bit of speed towards the end of the session, as I think we're now drawing the rivalries. We get our race goals.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So, same as our qualifying goals. Finished second, beat Ricciardo, and finished third or higher in the championship. Don't know. It's going to be a tough race. It's going to be a really tough race. Wet conditions. Suzuka's got what I would say the worst turn one of the calendar as well. So it's going to be an exciting and interesting race ahead. I'm now going to send you over to Ashley Gregory for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome to Japan for the 17th round of the 2017 Formula 1 season. Today we come to the legendary Suzuka circuit. 241 miles from Japan's capital, Tokyo, the Japanese Grand Prix has settled the World Drivers' Championship 11 times. Although that won't happen again today, we might find more clues as to who will become champion this season as we enter the final 5 races of 2017. This 3.6 mile circuit was originally designed as a test track for Honda and is one of the most challenging and technical on the calendar. It pushes both the tyres and the drivers to their limits. Coming to Suzuka, we also remember the tragic accident which occurred in 2014 when Jules Bianchi crashed into a recovery truck in an accident which sadly cost the Frenchman his life. Michael Schumacher is the most successful F1 driver in Japan with 6 race wins. However, last season's winner Sebastian Vettel could equal him today. With a win for Callum Byrne at the Malaysian Grand Prix last time out, the battle for the World Championship with Daniel Ricciardo is really starting to heat up. So let's have a look at the grid for today's race.
With 5 races remaining, we're still in with a chance of taking the Constructors' Championship. The team need a result from you today.
Ferrari dominated qualifying yesterday with Sebastian Vettel taking pole by a tenth from his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Red Bull were nearly 4 tenths back, but Daniel Ricciardo only just edged Callum Byrne by 0.02. The Williams of Valtteri Bottas shares the third row with the lead Force India of Nico Hulkenberg. Felipe Massa will start from 7th ahead of Sergio PEREZ. Then it's an all-Mercedes 5th row as the German manufacturer continues to slide down the grid, with Nico Rosberg leading Lewis Hamilton. Pascal Wehrlein just missed Q3 in 11th alongside the Toro Rosso of Daniel KVYAT. Esteban Gutierrez missed out on a Q3 appearance again, Carlos Sainz sharing the 7th row with him. Fernando Alonso is the highest Honda-powered car in 15th ahead of the Frenchman Romain Grosjean. Jenson Button and Rio Haryanto are 17th and 18th on the grid. And it's an all-Renault 10th row with Jolyon Palmer getting the better of Kevin Magnussen. And on the back row of the grid it's both Sauber drivers with Marcus Ericsson in 21st and Felipe Nasser in 22nd and last. Now for in-race commentary with Callum Byrne, I've been Ashley Gregory, goodbye and enjoy the race.
So here we are on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. In terms of strategy, it's going to dry up pretty much straight away according to that graphic. So hopefully we won't be on the inters for too long and get onto those slick tyres and really race. But our pace in the wet is usually really good, apart from Singapore. So something to bear in mind there, that we are usually very competitive in wet conditions. As we now line up at the end of the formation lap. These guys have been sat on the grid for a while, so what can we do here as the light sequence is initiated? 5 red lights here in Suzuka and away we go. And it's a great start from Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. Sebastian Vettel's had a shocking start from pole position. He's been passed by Raikkonen under pressure from Ricciardo. We hold the inside line. We dive up the inside of Ricciardo. Run wide on the exit as Vettel now is squirming all over the place. There's a yellow flag behind us for whatever reason. Bottas has passed Ricciardo in all that as well. But Kimi Raikkonen leads the Japanese Grand Prix at the moment from Sebastian Vettel and from ourselves. And I tell you what, not a great start, but we've gained places and we are most crucially ahead of our teammate Daniel Ricciardo, which is exactly what we needed to do. With a championship lead as slim as the one we have at the moment, we cannot afford to let Ricciardo win the race and for us to finish in 4th. That would be a travesty. It'd be tragic for our World Championship hopes. as he's just behind Valtteri Bottas, and we're just altering the front wing level because so we know. Just before we went onto the grid, I added some front wing in to help us in these wet conditions as we go wide at the hairpin. So I'm just preparing for when we go to slicks, taking that turn of front wing back out of the car to help us a little bit more when we go to slick conditions as we get a replay of the start. And what a start it was for Kimi Raikkonen. As you can see, Ricardo left the door open, and we got Felipe Massa being the cause of that yellow flag that we saw in the gravel trap at turn 1 as we're on board with our teammate off the line now. And you can see, look at the start for Kimi Raikkonen. It was a great start. Vettel bogged down, and Ricardo just kind of sits in behind him, moves out too late, leaves a gap for us to go up the inside, and we get very close to contact between him and Ricardo. And then Valtteri Bottas just sneaks up the inside into turn 2. Brilliant manoeuvre from Valtteri Bottas. We're on board with him now. We're going to get a great view of this. As you'll see, we just open the door for everyone as we fly down the inside, and Bottas just cuts underneath. And we get very close to contact with Sebastian Vettel on the exit of turn 2. As here's what's happened to Felipe Massa. We saw him flying through the gravel trap on the cinematic view. What has happened to Felipe Massa? As you can see, Valtteri Bottas all over the back of Ricardo, and into turn 1, contact with Sergio Perez, and Felipe Massa then has more contact with Carlos Sainz when he comes back onto the track. Not good at all. We're now on lap 3 of this race. And we've lost Rio Haryanto, in fact. What has happened to Rio Haryanto through Degner 2? It looks like it's been an engine failure. Yet there it goes. There it goes. And there it goes. And that brought out the virtual safety car here on the third lap of this race. I was actually hoping for a full course safety car. As you can see on the mini-map, Ferrari have just pulled away, and it would help the dry conditions get here a bit quicker. We are really struggling in these conditions. And,
let Ricciardo through. Let Daniel through, please.
Okay, close up to him and overtake him.
So there's free track behind. You don't need to use the tyres up.
Why is he not letting me through? I'm not slowing down. Get close and overtake. There you can overtake. Why is he not letting me through?
Just had the message.
Yeah, as you can see, Red Bull are now employing team orders. As I said, we're really struggling in these conditions, and Daniel Ricciardo is all over the back of us at the moment. As now on lap 9, he's still behind us. He goes around the outside into Degner 1, but that is not an overtaking manoeuvre, and he ends up in the gravel trap. Very, very lucky boy was Daniel Ricciardo here. As you can see, the space was there, fair enough, but it's not a corner you overtake in. As you can see, he ran very wide on the exit. There was close to being contact as well when he rejoined the track as well. Very dangerous stuff from Daniel Ricciardo, as we're now up into second place because Kimi Raikkonen has pitted for fresh intermediates, which is weird because it has actually stopped raining now on lap 10. As we're checking with our engineer to see when it's the right time to go to the crossover. Here comes Ricciardo though, around the outside into 130. Oh, that's a brave move. It's a crazy move. He's run wide on the exit. He's squirming all over the place. He's made contact with Sergio Perez. Someone is in the barriers on the exit of 130R. Who is ended up in the barriers? I fear it is Perez, and it is Checo Perez in the barrier with no front wing, as we saw a Ferrari going past a Mercedes in the background there through 130R, and not good for Sergio Perez. You can see on board with Daniel Ricciardo, never going to work around the outside, and Perez just misjudged the speed. To be fair to Ricciardo, he does rejoin the track quite dangerously, it must be said, but it's just one of those racing incidents. As we take the lead now as Sebastian Vettel pits for fresh intermediate tyres. But as you can see, our tyres are, we've got to pit this lap. Our tyres are going to explode if we do another lap, as Ricciardo tries again around the outside. We're struggling for tyre wear massively. We don't want to go for intermediate. It's going to be dry in about 3 laps time, but we need to pit. And what tyres do we gamble on going in for as we come into the pit lane? We are going to gamble on the slick tyre. It is too early for slick tyres. That's the be-all and end-all. But I think we're going to lose more time by pitting for intermediates and then pitting for slicks again in the space of a couple of laps. So we're gambling on a set of medium compound tyres. We can go medium to the end from here. And we are the first car onto the slick tyre as we come out of the pit lane. We've been passed by the Williams there of Valtteri Bottas, and there goes Lewis Hamilton, into turn 1. Nico Rosberg's just coming up behind him, in fact. As you can see now, we are struggling massively. The spray's being kicked up from the Mercedes. We are struggling quite massively as now Rosberg is on the back of us on the same lap, in fact. Into the spoon curve we go. And you can see, I think Rosberg is just trying to find a way through. We've understeered wide, slid wide on the apex of spoon as our teammate pits for new intermediate tyres. He's done the opposite to what we've done, but we're in the slipstream now of Rosberg down towards 130R, and we're going to re-overtake the Mercedes, who's on the intermediate tyres. We know he runs wide, and we exceed the track limit slightly, but so does Nico Rosberg, and we retake the position as we again struggle on the exit of spoon on the next lap. Rosberg and Hulkenberg are right behind us now on the run towards 130R. Here goes Nico Rosberg around the outside of 130R. He can't make the corner. We give him as much space as possible. He doesn't hit Hulkenberg as he rejoins the track. And as just as we come down the pit straight, then just following that, Hulkenberg just drives clean past us, goes up the inside. We can't keep it on the track. We are still struggling, especially into turns 1 and 2 and into turn 15 of 130R as well. As you can see, DRS is now enabled on lap 15. So he said we had about 3 laps of pain on tyres that weren't quite ready, but it is all starting to come up for us now as our teammate pits at the end of lap 15. And I think we are going to jump him ever so comfortably, as this has really worked into our hands. And we set a new fastest lap of the race of 147.8. Those times will come down quite a lot in the latter part of this race as we run wide. Typically on the exit, we now set a new fastest lap of the race, a 145.2 on lap 17 as Raikkonen comes out the pit lane because Vettel got caught out, and it meant that Raikkonen had to do 2 extra laps on the intermediate tyres compared to the extra 1 that Sebastian Vettel did, and it's really hurt Kimi Raikkonen, but it has allowed him to go onto the soft compound tyre, whereas we're on slightly warm mediums now. Raikkonen is just able to walk away to this. We have a VSC now on lap 19, a virtual safety car. What is this for? Massa's gone up the inside of Carlos Sainz into turn 1. They've both run wide. They've got glued to each other through turn 2. They're just stuck on each other's side pods as they do that. And now Pascal Wehrlein has gone in and he's hit Massa. And they're both on the infield, and that's why we have a virtual safety car here. Gutting for Pascal Wehrlein, that is, at the moment, as we're just waiting for the virtual safety car to end. We're also going to dive into the pit lane now if the virtual safety car doesn't end. That's the plan. We're just going to go into the pit lane. We were really thinking about it, and we only really made the decision now to come into the pit lane as we were trying to keep our delta okay, and we now do come into the pit lane. And we're going to put on another set of the medium compound tyres to run to the end. Pit onto the virtual safety car. One of the Ferraris, I believe it was Kimi Raikkonen, has pitted under VSC as well. On go the medium compound tyre, and there's hard compound tyres there because Daniel Ricciardo is also pitting this lap as well. Ricciardo is going to follow us into the pit lane. He was quite about 10 seconds behind us after he made that blunder of going on to intermediates, but he should have gone for slick tyres earlier on. As we now come out of the pit lane, we're under racing conditions, and Lewis Hamilton runs straight into the back of us. Completely misjudged the speed, did Lewis, and he's damaged his front wing as well. That's not going to help him much at all, as our teammate is in the pit lane at the moment. And we've now got a replay of Sergio Perez. Has his day got any worse? Yes, it has. He's got a puncture, and that's really not helped him. And now we've lost Jolyon Palmer on lap 21 from this race. What's happened to Jolyon? He's being lapped by Sebastian Vettel, the race leader, and Daniel Kvyat's tried to sneak through, and Jolyon Palmer has been obliterated by Daniel Kvyat through the S's. And Jolyon Palmer's day, his race is run. Not good for him, as now on lap 22, Sebastian Vettel has pitted from the lead of the race. What has Sebastian Vettel done? He's thrown away the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen is now the race leader as we set a new fastest lap on lap 24. Valtteri Bottas goes into the pit lane as well. We're back up onto the podium, but Sebastian Vettel may have just cost himself victory by making that extra pit stop. He didn't pit under the VSC. It may have just cost him badly in this race as we're getting past the 2 Saubers, lapping them as well. On the penultimate lap of the race, we were just completely unchallenged when we went to slick tyres, to be honest. Ricciardo couldn't touch us in the end. He's down at spoon curve as we come through 130R. we've kind of cruised. Kimi Raikkonen, though, has won the Japanese Grand Prix for the first time since 2005, I want to say. And as we come through the final corner, we're going to take a well-deserved P3.
Absolutely superb, Kimi. Brilliant. Well done, mate.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I told you that the car is good. Thanks everybody. Great job.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Our current points leader extends their lead at the top of the championship after a very good result here today. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Well, I think it has to be Fernando Alonso.
Fernando Alonso gets driver of the day. Points for McLaren Honda at the home of Honda here in Suzuka. But Kimi Raikkonen, great race from him to win this race. Sebastian Vettel second, threw it away. Absolutely threw it away. We were the only car to two-stop as well. But is this a turning point? Ferrari have dominated this weekend. They dominated in qualifying. They've dominated the race. This could be very interesting in the final part of the season. Valtteri Bottas, brilliant fourth place for him. Daniel Ricciardo just wasn't his day today. Just didn't go his way. He was quicker than us in the early part of the race. We ignored team orders to let him through. He might not be very happy with us. I know the team are very, very angry with us for not letting him through as well because of the repercussions in the Drivers' Championship. Sebastian Vettel is not out of this championship yet, but the fact he hasn't won today all but confirms he will not be a five-time world champion. We have extended our lead to 14 points, however, over Daniel Ricciardo. We've got a nice buffer now heading to the circuit of the Americas. The only other movers and shakers are Nico Hulkenberg's jumped above Felipe Massa now, near the bottom end of the points. But big news in the Constructors' Championship because Toro Rosso have jumped above Haas due to a good result today. We now lead the Constructors' Championship by 162 points. I don't think it's quite over yet in the Constructors. A 1-2 for Ferrari today has really played into their hands, but we will be Constructors' champions, I expect again. It's too little too late from Ferrari. Sauber and Renault still yet to score this season. Bearing in mind, every team scored last year, and Renault seemingly going backwards. They're still bottom of that championship. Here are the resource points, though. 4,500. Blimey, the amount of upgrades we could do to this car if we really wanted to with that amount of resource points. But it doesn't matter. We wanted a close fight with Ferrari. We've got one. We have got one. And we head to the Circuit of the Americas next week. Ferrari are going to be very competitive there. They've shown here they've got a good aero package. We already know they've got a good engine. They've got a better engine than us. It's got a bit more grunt. So have Ferrari really turned a corner? They haven't bought any upgrades to this race. They were just pure and simple quicker. It was a little bit like Mercedes back in Singapore 2015. That's the only way I can describe how this was. Me and Ricciardo, simply did not have the pace this weekend. Maybe we should have played for the team, let Daniel go in the early part of the race to see if he could get one of the Ferraris. But we're putting our eggs in the Drivers' Championship basket. We couldn't afford to drop so many points to Ricciardo today, and the fact we've gained points over him means that ignoring team orders has really worked for us. But 4 races to go. 14 points between myself and Daniel Ricciardo. We go to Austin Mexico City, Interlagos and Yas Marina. And the tension really is building now. We've been on the podium every race bar 3. Our consistency this year has been exceptional. It really has. Can we get a podium in Austin? Ricciardo won last year, we got 3rd. Will we get a repeat of that result next week? We'll find out next time.